Hello everyone, I'm Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team, and I would like to welcome you to the Inject Creativity Live Show. This is an online show for educators interested in digital creativity. This show is live on the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, as well as other social media, and past recordings can be viewed via bit.ly/adobe-inject. Any teacher, whether an Adobe user or not, in any K-12 or higher education sector and any subject area is welcome. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, thank you, Rob, and welcome to this post-Adobe Max episode of the Inject Creativity Live Show, the online show that aims to encourage teachers to enhance digital creativity skills in all curriculum areas and levels. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, Tim, and a special welcome to everyone who's joined us live for this show being recorded on Wednesday, the 3rd of November, 2021 via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, as well as the Australasian Adobe and Education Facebook group. We encourage you all to say hi in the chat and let us know where you are from and where you teach.
And while you're in the chat sharing a bit about yourself, we'd like to do an acknowledgement of country. We respect and honour Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders past and present and future, as well as all Indigenous people from the lands we reach out to during this event.
We acknowledge their stories, traditions and living cultures. We acknowledge them as the first peoples in our lands, the first scientists and the first creatives, and we commit to building a brighter future together.
During this episode, we'll be reviewing last week's Adobe Max Conference.
We'll be hearing from special guest and Western Australian Adobe Education leader, Carey.
Stephen Colbert, Adobe Education leader from Victoria, will be our thought leader.
Tacey Trowbridge, Adobe's Global Education Programs lead, will be sharing some interesting new creativity and education research.
We'll be promoting a number of Adobe-related education resources.
And our behind-the-scenes guru, Adobe Customer Success Manager, Jerry Wong, will have a special quiz question for us.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
All right, let's see who has joined us. And John from Toowoomba is back with us again, saying hello, everyone. Nice to hear and see you again. And it's lovely to connect with you, John. So thank you for joining us. And Ben is also with us again. He's another regular living in the border, near the border of Victoria and New South Wales. He says, loving all the new updates to Photoshop announced at Max. We'll be touching on a little bit of that a little bit later on. Dr. Bronwyn Wade Leeuwen from Macquarie University is with us as well. Hello, Bronwyn. She says, hi, everyone. Bronwyn from Macquarie University here. Looking forward to tonight. And one of our most favourite audience members, not that we should have favourites.
He's so dedicated because it is crazy. It's so early. It's actually still late where he is right now in Toronto. So we appreciate you joining us, Tim.
3:33 in the morning in Toronto, and yet he's with us live, which is brilliant. And it's only 1 degree in Toronto at the moment. So thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining us live. And if you are with us live, and I can see there's quite a few, say hello in the chat. It'll be wonderful to connect with you and get to find out a little bit about where you are teaching.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. Now let's welcome our good friend and the Inject Creativity Live moderator and techie whiz, Jerry Wong. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'll be looking out for your comments and questions in the chat and posting the most relevant ones. To encourage you to use the live chat, I have an Adobe-related quiz question for you. Name the celebrity comedian who hosted this year's Sneak segment at Adobe Max.
There we go. Good question there, Jerry. Who's going to be the first to get that one right? Looking at the responses now, it's not an instant response. That's because there might be a little bit of a delay.
I think we should maybe accept just a first name as well, because professionally this person goes by just their first name as well.
That's how I knew them. I didn't even know they had a surname.
Oh, and it's not Cher. Although that would have been wonderful. It's not share.
Not sure if Adobe had the budget for share.
Maybe if they just asked really nicely.
We might have to give a clue. This person is a star on Saturday Night Live, which might mean nothing to a lot of you in Australia. But, we've got an answer. Well done, Ben. Let's give Ben a round of applause for getting it right. Keenan Thompson, very well known in America on Saturday Night Live, was the host of Sneaks this year. And he did a fabulous job, didn't he? Did you enjoy it? Erin, did you enjoy it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was like, we're waiting for Ben to reply in the chat. Yes, so it was good. I thought he did a really, really good job of working with all of the Adobe experts that were demonstrating the Sneaks segment, especially because, it's a little bit hard when you're like very much in the tech space to then like jump up and do a presentation. So I thought they did a lovely job of rolling it all together. It was very nice.
I would like to call it a bit of a juxtaposition between being a comedian and being an engineer.
Plus, sadly, with my crazy pop culture knowledge, I recognized every single outfit that he was changing into, and every single, like, it wasn't even a stretch. And special mention to John B as well, because he mentioned Chelsea Handler, who was actually one of the hosts for Max last year.
There we go. All right. Well, congratulations, Ben, on getting that right.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Rathke.
Thanks, Rob. Now let's meet our guests for this episode and welcome Eden Carey and Stephen Colbert to the stage.
Hi, guys. So, Eden, please tell us about the work you do in Perth, Western Australia.
Yeah, so I'm a digital facilitator at Santa Maria College, and I've made a website for the girls at Santa Maria where they can go through different tutorials of various applications, and Cinemagraphs is one of them, which I'm going to demonstrate today.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. Stephen, welcome back to the show. Tell us about your role at Brunswick Secondary College in Melbourne.
So I'm involved in, I'm a learning specialist of pedagogy and a literacy improvement teacher, which in plain language means I help the kids that can't read and write good. And I work with teachers to talk about pedagogy, basically, is my job. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Stephen, I believe you were a top 50 finalist in a Global Teacher Prize. Can you share more about this with us?
Sure, yeah. So a number of people nominated me, and they narrowed it down to a top 50 from, I think, 8,000 plus people this year, and then to a top 10, and then to a final person who wins a US $1 million. So Beck West from New South Wales is currently in the top 10, kicking on, and she technically has a 1 in 10 chance to win $1 million, which is, for teachers, for anyone, frankly, is a pretty good chance. So, so very exciting. And, of course, it involves getting connected with a whole bunch of other people, 50 people from around the world who are sort of in their own respective countries, people like me, sort of, who do teaching for a job and then education for a hobby in the evenings kind of thing. So
that's wonderful, and quite the feather in your cap. Congratulations for your nomination and you becoming a top 50 finalist. It's amazing.
And I broke the news about that to the international AEL meetings that were happening overnight and early this morning, and they were very excited for you, Stephen. So there's a whole community of AELs around the world who are giving you a virtual clap. In fact, let's give Stephen more than a virtual clap now for that achievement. That is outstanding to see you representing Australia and representing the Adobe education leadership community in a sense as well on the global stage, and that's fantastic. And it was also, I noticed an article in the Age newspaper just this week, and this was about pandemic boosts trust in teachers. How are you coping with all this media attention, Steve?
Oh, well, there hasn't been that much, to be honest, but I was pleased with this article because it was off the back of something I wrote for the Age, saying that, the media is constantly bashing teachers and it's all bad news. And then, of course, when they came to write this story that was much more positive, I was front of mind to talk to, I guess. But yeah, so it's research out of Monash, and it shows basically the things that we instinctively all know, that teachers are more respected as a result of, in Victoria, at least, remote teaching, where they got to see what teachers do via their their children's shoulders, peering in and seeing what teaching is like on the internet. Yeah.
Well done for being a part of a positive narrative about the calling that is education. Well done, Stephen. Now, Eden, can you please tell us something interesting about yourself that not many people would know?
Well, I have been teaching for the last 10 years, taking a bit of a break at the moment. So this is my first year of no classes whatsoever. So I'm in the digital facilitator role, but I'm actually studying psychology. So I'm going to go into a little bit of shift into research. I'm going to do my PhD into technology and mental health. So I'm going to do a paper about the two. So
wow, and what a burgeoning area as well. Like there's so much new research and really interesting things coming out in that area. Well done, you.
That's
great. Looking forward to introducing Dr. Carey in the near future. Really wonderful. Stephen, how about you? What's something interesting about you that not many people would know about?
I'm the height of an average doorway. That's my claim. So,
that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm the height of the average hobbit hole.
Well, don't worry. If we ever meet, then I'll stand far apart so we don't embarrass one.
I'll have to stand in the foreground.
And Stephen, I've known you only virtually, even though we live in the same city. We've never actually physically met. So I think now that Melbourne has opened up, there's no excuses. We need to organise something for the AELs in Melbourne to get together so you can prove that you're the height of a doorway.
Sounds good, yeah.
Now, Eden, you've already told us what you're presenting on tonight, so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be great. Stephen, how about you? What will you be sharing?
So, not surprisingly, from my recent nomination, I'm interested in the idea of competition in teaching and finding a challenge network. So, sort of looking at leadership and building your sort of collaborative group of how you can improve yourself with other people's help.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Eden and Stephen. We're looking forward to hearing from both of you very soon.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, Erin, another Adobe Max has been done and dusted, and what an event it was.
That's right, Tim. Running free and virtual again throughout various global time zones with over 400 sessions from hundreds of inspiring speakers, Max 2021 was an outstanding event.
If you missed it live, don't worry, the sessions will remain available on the max.adobe.com site for many months to come.
Go down to the chat and tell us about your highlights of Max 2021. Tim, what were your highlights?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what other people have to say about, we've already had some without even knowing that would be a discussion point. This year, I actually had the pleasure of being asked to be one of the presenters. And I was reflecting on this just earlier today. And I think when I look back at my career at Adobe, this will be one of the highlights, to think that I was actually able to present at the world's largest creativity conference. It was an absolute thrill. And I shared the session with New South Wales Adobe Education Leader Craig Delmeyer-Power and Californian Adobe Education Leader Lisa Gottfried with a presentation about giving students a voice with Character Animator.
I believe about 2,000 people just registered for that session, let alone how many probably watched it.
Well, that's the beauty of Adobe Max. The scale is incredible. And from what I understand, last year's event has had over 5 million hits over the period of time that it was available to watch. So who knows how many people will be watching these sessions in the future. And it's just been fantastic. And one of the great pleasures was during the session, we actually had the Adobe Character Animator product team managers moderating the session in the back end, which was a real thrill, a thrill to meet them for the first time, some of them for the first time. It was a great experience.
Oh, wonderful. Did you have any other highlights, Tim?
Well, I love seeing Queensland's own Juliet Bentley sharing the stage with Matt Niemitz, the head of the Adobe Education Exchange. And I also loved seeing Swinburne University getting highlighted with a session hosted by Professor Sarah Madison that featured a number of Swinburne teachers sharing how they use Adobe tools.
So, Tim, you recently posted in your journal about some of the new announcements from Adobe that were made during the keynote sessions.
Yeah, let's bring that up now. So this is the article that I posted most recently. And as we scroll through the article, and I think Jerry's going to put the link in the chat in a minute at timkitchen.net. It's the most recent of the timkitchen.net. If it's not there when you watch the recording, just scroll down until you find it. But it brings a link directly to the keynote session. And then from there, we can have a look at some of the highlights, well, things that I thought were highlights, with the times. So at 1 minute, 14 seconds to actually have a listen to Shantanu Narayan, who's the CEO of Adobe, give his reflections and some great comments there. It was great to see the Adobe Education Exchange link with the Khan Academy being featured during the keynote. So that was a bit of a highlight for me. And of course, Scott Belsky, who heads up the Creative Cloud, basically. He's number 2 to Shantanu. He was the host for the keynote, and he had some wonderful things to talk about that I just reflected on here. And then we had a whole range of different sessions come in from different experts who shared new features of Photoshop, of Illustrator, and a range of tools. It's great to see now we can publicly talk about Photoshop on the web, Illustrator on the web. We've been knowing this is happening for a while, but not being able to talk about it. And because so many schools rely on Chromebooks, it was terrific to see these connections now. And there's a representative from Google sharing about how this connection between Adobe and Google is becoming so much more enhanced now that a lot of our main applications are becoming browser-based. How are we going in the chat there? Erin, anything to highlight from other people?
Well, Jerry's highlighted a couple of posts by Roland. He mentioned a few of the things that were highlighted in the sneaks segment. So I'm not sure. I think, isn't there a thing, Tim, where sneaks aren't actually put live after the fact? You have to watch it during Max?
Well, sneaks is interesting because sometimes what's being created will end up a feature and might end up a whole app in itself. Often it's not the case. Sometimes it's just the technology that's being developed ends up being used within some of our applications. So there's no guarantee that those sneaks will actually become products or become features, but it really is terrific to see what our engineers are up to.
Oh, so like clever.
Yeah.
And so much use of Adobe Sensei as well.
Oh, yeah, big time. Well worth watching. As we scroll through here, we can see more information about Adobe stock. Terry White came back again at the 36-second note to talk about Adobe Illustrator and some of the new features that are coming in there. And then we had a section on Adobe Fresco and some great new features on Fresco. It's just becoming a really powerful app. So you can watch that at 42 minutes and 19 seconds. Anything else there, Erin, to add from comments?
Well, Timothy Cosgrove did mention that your video is an amazing recap of Adobe Max 2021, and he recommends it for viewing, which I thought was lovely.
Oh, thank you very much. And then we've got some information about Adobe XD, some new features. Oh, having video, finally. Oh my goodness, we've been waiting for a while for that to happen, but now we can incorporate video into our XD designs. That's opened up a whole new world.
Yes, I could practically hear Craig Maya Power doing a tap dance when they officially released that.
And there's Brian Yap talking about Illustrator on the iPad coming out soon. Some new features in Lightroom. Oh, and David Dodds, there was a video that featured David Dodds, and alongside, on the same video, he was alongside David Fincher, the Hollywood director. So there you go, one of our fellow AELs, David Dodds from Los Angeles, has been compared to David Fincher, the Hollywood director. How cool is that?
That is so nice. And David, because we met him during the our last year's Adobe Education, Creativity Conference for Asia Pacific, and he was just so lovely and so engaging. Yeah, so what a compliment to him.
Well, he actually came out to Sydney the year before, so he was actually with us at the summit in 2019, which is just brilliant. Jason Levine, he's always a highlight at Adobe Max, and he shared some features with our video tools. And Emery Wells He's from Frame.io, and if you haven't come across Frame.io, it's a company that we recently acquired, and it's now an Adobe company, but it's relevant for educators, but also at the highest level of the video communication industry, because it's providing really fantastic ways of sharing video, of marking up video. And what I get the impression is this will be a whole new generation, a whole new way of doing video in the future is being formed by this company called Frame.io. So we're really excited to now be partnering with them, or being part of them, and having them join Adobe. Who knows what can come up in the future with those two companies working together. Indeed. And lots of other things. So just quickly, Erin, I'm going to scroll through to the end, because there's our sneak section. If you want to just click into there, you can see that. And then there's the session that Craig and I did on Character Animator. There's the session that Juliet did with Matt Nemitz. And finally, that's the Swinburne session. So that's my summary of Adobe Max. Anything else in the comments there, Erin?
Oh, just lots. Like Roland was absolutely blown away by Max, because he's made so many comments about all of his favorite bits of Max. So thank you so much for adding things to the chat, Roland. It's been a pleasure to have you here join us again tonight.
Wonderful.
Hi folks, we are about to be inspired by an AEL, an Adobe Education Leader. AELs are passionate about the use of Adobe tools to inspire creative learning and teaching experiences in the delivery of either primary, secondary, or post-secondary curricula. The first step to becoming an AEL is to be an ACE, an Adobe Creative Educator, via edx.adobe.com/adobe-creative-educator. You don't have to be an Adobe expert to be an ACE, just a teacher interested in engaging students through creative digital learning experiences. The ACE program is a free international micro-credentialing program. It only takes a few hours to earn your Level 1 badge, and the focus is on creativity rather than Adobe. Please share this program with your colleagues and get involved. Who knows, you may one day also become an Adobe Education Leader.
Like the future Dr. Eden Carey. It's not the current Eden Carey, the future Dr. Eden Carey.
No pressure though, Tim, no pressure.
Might take a few years.
No, it's great. Great to aspire to. It'd be lovely to have another doctor in the realm of Adobe Education Leaders. And it's a delight to welcome you, Eden. So we're just going to hand things over to you now.
Thank you. Okay, I'm assuming you can all see my screen now. I'm going to share with you something that I created for the girls at my school. So Santa Maria College is where I work. And I created this at the beginning of this year, and we've called it Upgrade. And it's where we're hosting all our short courses for the girls. And as I navigate through to all the different courses, one of them is some technology how-tos, and through there I've got various different applications, and one of them is Adobe Photoshop. So what I'm going to show you and hopefully inspire you is creating Cinemagraphs, and they're fantastic little engagement tools to be able to put into your classroom or to use as advertising as just little GIF animations to really inspire. So part of this course that I have for the girls is that they get points and Santa Maria College coins, so they can use them at the canteen, and they got a little leaderboard and everything. So lots of fun for the girls to go through, and a great motivator to do all these courses. But I've got an overview, and I'm going to go through how to do the Cinemagraph with you as well in Photoshop, but I've got a couple of examples. So this is one, as I had the fantastic opportunity to travel around the world in 2019, and then hopefully get to finish off the rest of the world soon. But this is a reflection. You can see the walking across the water here. So everything else is still. And then I've just created a mask along the water here. You will see that I've just got the water level that goes up and then drops. And that's why it's extremely important when you have the equipment that you have a tripod, and then you won't have that issue. So your camera goes onto a tripod, it's nice and still, and then you won't have these little issues. I was trying to hold the camera very, very still, but being traveling and just packing around the countries in my suitcase. I didn't pack a tripod. You can see how creative it is that you have these people at the top and they're walking past the water in the reflection. So it's always good to be really creative. I've got a little bit of a challenge for the girls at the school. Goes through the equipment that they need, such as camera, tripod, obviously a computer, and Adobe Photoshop, Creative Cloud. And I've got some very simple instructions. So after these 14 steps, you'll be able to create your own Cinemagraph as well. Now, if you're logged on to Adobe Education Exchange, I've done the Create a Cinemagraph course a few years ago. I think it was in 2019 or 2018. So if you're able to go into that, you might be able to find the course there as well. So I've got a couple of other examples, and I'm going to run through this little tutorial with you. So you can see that this boat is just bumping up and down, and the rest of it is nice and still. Otherwise, it should have like all been waves as part of the video. And then also you can see that I've got a bottle that's refilling up with water or with Sprite or 7-Up, I think it was. But the rest of it, you can see it's very still, as well as the traffic here in Italy. And then you can see that the flag is moving as well. So lovely examples. For the girls, I've got an 11-minute how-to video that I showcase how to actually go through the steps. And this is the one that I created at the beginning of this year as well. So you can see that the book is flipping back and forth, but you can see everything else is still. Now, surprisingly enough, you'll be able to see that it says futuristic up here, and that was not planned whatsoever, but that matches in perfectly with the theme. So the girls are able to upload their own Cinemagraph, and then I give them points, and they can do a little quiz as well. So I'm going to go into Photoshop. I'm going to show you very quickly how to go about doing that. So basically I have a MOV file. So I'm just going to close out of this one, and then you go new file, and you can choose custom or you can go to film and video. You just basically want to set the canvas size that's suitable for the particular footage that you have. And then you have the timeline at the bottom, which we want to be a video. So if you don't have the timeline there, you go to Window and you go to Timeline, and that will pop up the timeline here, and then we just make sure it's a video timeline. So I'm going to create that one, and that creates our timeline here. And over in this little corner, I'm going to add media, and that's when I'm going to go find my video file that I have, and there it is there. And that's going to add my video file here. I'm just going to delete this layer because there's just nothing in there. So I've just deleted the empty layer, and I have my video file. So if I hit play, you see there's audio, there's visual, it's got the waves going back and forth. And so that's not quite a GIF file yet. That's not our Cinemagraph. So all we have to do is a few nice, quick and simple steps. So usually what I do is I try and find a nice 5-second loop. So what kind of loop in this whole video, because we don't need the whole 7 or 8 seconds that I have here. I just need a section that's just going to loop back and forth like that. And so then what we do is we just kind of snip it, just move it so we have our size that we want. So it doesn't need to be the whole amount. And so I can make that nice and short. And I can see that it's got that part there. So once you're going around, you fiddle with it, you want to spend a little bit more time with it. What I'm then going to do is add a second layer. So I'm going to click here and create a new video group. So I'm going to click on video group there, and I've got an extra layer. And then what I'm going to do with this particular layer, that's a video, I want to duplicate it, and then I'm going to rasterize it. So by duplicating it means obviously I'm going to create a second layer. So I'm going to right-hand click it, and I'm going to duplicate it. So I've got the exact same one. I'm going to call this one raster. So that's what I'm going to do to it. So you can see exactly the same video clip. All I've done is duplicated it twice. I'm going to drag and drop that into the other layer, and then you'll be able to see that there's one on top and one on the bottom, and we want them directly overlaid each other. So I'm just going to move that to the top there. So we have the raster sorry, we did want the raster. We wanted the raster at the top. And what we need to do is actually make it a raster graphic, because at the moment it's just a video, so it's not serving a purpose. So we're going to control click and we're going to raster layer. So for the top one that we've duplicated, that we've called raster, it is now a image. So if I hit play or struggle forward, you'll see that it is just a photo. If I click on the eye tool of that one, that means it's hiding the raster one. And again, we see the video. So the video is underneath and the image is at the top. Now, very simple is the last little step that we're going to do. And all I want to do is on the raster layer with that one selected, I've got the lasso tool on the top left-hand corner. And all I'm going to do, and you would probably want to do this nice and carefully and neatly so it's absolutely perfect. You would zoom in, zoom out, add, remove, and just make sure that you've got the perfect details. So you can see that I'm adding here. So I can add to the lasso. If I'm holding down shift, you can see the lasso has a little plus button. And so I can add little corners here. I can go back and forth and do that. So you want to perfect as much as possible. Now, what I've got now is I've got my boat selected on my raster slide. All I have to do is hit delete. You see that there was a little bit of a tilt, and can't control that because it's a wave and boats move. But what you will see now is that I've got the boat going back and forth. So what I've done is I've created a hole in a still image, and underneath that hole is a moving graphic or moving video. And so I have my boat moving back and forth. So I can hit play, and then you can see that it's looping. Now, this is when you want to spend the time going back and forth, back and forth. So then it's a perfect loop, because you want it to be round. So it just seems like it's continuous, and you don't want it to seem like it has stopped. But once you are happy with that, once you have finished with that one, you just go to File and you go to Export. Now, we want to export it as a GIF, and the GIF is our GIF animation, and that way it will continuously loop over and over again. So we want to export Save for Web Legacy. So if you click on that one there, wait for that one to load. Now, sometime the preset will come up as JPEG. That's what it did for me before, but I just went ahead and just selected GIF. So sometimes depends on the person. Just make sure the preset is set to a GIF. That takes a little bit to load. It took about a minute or so for it to load on my screen. So just be aware of that it might take a little bit of time. But once it is the GIF there, all you need to do is save, and then choose a location of where you want to save to, what you want to call it. So I'm going to call it boat 2, because I think I might already have a boat there. And I'm going to save that to my desktop or to my chosen folder. And now if I go, they're my ones I've created before. If I go to my boat 2, there we go. That's the one that I just created. So it is a GIF animation. You can see like in the corner there's a little bit of water that has come through. So you do want to go back and forth. And, sometimes I spend like half an hour to an hour just really perfecting it. You may want to end up reshooting the footage to make sure that you've got a good continuous loop. So there's heaps of different ideas that you might want to work with. And that's why I've got a couple of examples here to inspire you. Nice little bottle of just refilling. Some people have used the smoke from coffee or hot chocolate, so you can create a little animation there. But anything with a nice loop, and it's a really, really fun for students to make, as well as even in English in terms of marketing, or just for you to create your own GIF animation to really engage with your audience if it's about a history topic, or for English or mathematics, if you want to really just grab their attention by creating this cinemagraph. So it's a fun little still graphic that will be really great for you to create. And hopefully you do create a few little creative things, because I would love to see what everyone has created. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much, Eden. That was fabulous. Some really inspiring ideas there on how to use it in various ways. Let's see if we can make you look a bit better. There we go. Hey, great to see the examples that the girls have created, and I can see they'd have a lot of fun with that.
Thank you. Yeah, they have a lot of fun with it, and they're always very competitive with the leaderboard. They get to see what place, and we reset it every single week just so everyone gets a fair chance. But one of the little favourites that has run out now, but we gave away Krispy Kreme donuts, a box, and a box of pizza as well. So they could share, but sometimes the girls just want it all to themselves, so which is fine too.
And you may not have seen, but there's been a number of comments that have come through that we've highlighted about the use. And I particularly like the fact that they're learning a range of different Photoshop skills in the process of doing this. So it's a terrific activity. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a year 8 girl that recently made a Cinemagraph. I was extremely surprised because my pitch was mostly to the middle senior school, which is year 10 and above. When a year 8 made one, it was a beautiful little Harry Potter animation. So definitely, like you might think that it's aimed at a high level, but you'd be surprised. So always give the students the benefit of the doubt.
It just goes to show the influence that students have on each other, that the word of that got through to different grade levels and they felt confident enough to be able to jump in and give it a go. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good on you, Eden.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. Well, Erin, I'm very excited to introduce a new live online professional learning and networking opportunity from Adobe called Adobe Teach Meets that will be starting on November the 10th and is scheduled throughout 2022.
Tim has put together this very special video promotion for the new Adobe Teach Meets program.
The Adobe Teach Meets program is a set of free and online creative professional learning opportunities for teachers in any subject area and any level who have access to Adobe applications. Each Teach Meet session involves a choice of online practical workshops, both for teachers who are new to Adobe and those who are experienced users. Each workshop is led by an Adobe education leader who is a practicing classroom, primary, secondary or higher education teacher, or they're led by members of the Adobe education team. All of these leaders are passionate about enhancing students' digital literacy, communication and creativity skills. Each Teach Meet session will run for 2 consecutive afternoon evenings, twice a term throughout 2022, starting at 4 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. The sessions are not recorded. They are live workshops with links to key practical resources and how-to guides for follow-up. Registration in advance is required. Any teacher who has access to Adobe tools will benefit from the Adobe Teach Meets program. So look up adobe.ly/teachmeets or scan this QR code to find out more and register for the sessions you would like to attend. Let all your colleagues know about this free online and creative professional learning opportunity from Adobe.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
We have over 30,000 teachers who have enrolled in at least level 1 of the Adobe Creative Educator program. Please do promote this program with your colleagues via adobe.ly/ACE. The focus is not on Adobe skills, but understanding the importance of creativity in education.
If you'd like to be guided through level 1, Dr. Kitchen is running the next Be a Creative Educator course on Tuesday, the 16th of November, 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Look up adobe.ly/creative educator for more information and share this site with your colleagues and wider education networks.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
I recently caught up with Tacey Trowbridge, Adobe's head of global education programs, in relation to some new research that directly looks at how Adobe's creativity tools link with academic results.
Here is the short 4-minute version of the interview. A more extended 13-minute version is available on Create EDU TV at bit.ly/Tacey-OCT for October 21.
Tacey Trowbridge, it is fantastic to have you with the Inject Creativity live show. Thanks for joining us.
I'm so glad to be here, Tim. I've been looking forward to this.
Tacey, for those who haven't met you before, can you tell us a little bit about your role at Adobe?
Sure. I lead our work on thought leadership, answering the question, why do creative skills matter? And focus on advocacy and help ensure that our students are able to demonstrate skills and knowledge through certification.
Well, Tacey, every year we seem to be doing some pretty impressive research, and it's been incredible to see some of the data that we have generated. We work with lots of different partners, and the research that we've been working with this year. Can you tell us about the partners we've been connecting with for this?
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a departure from where we've been. We've done a lot of survey research in the past where we've surveyed everyone from Gen Z students to policymakers to educators to hiring managers. And this year we partnered with 2 organizations to dive into the data to really try to understand the impact of creative skills on students while they're in college and then in their careers. So we partnered with Civitas Learning, a fantastic organization that does really deep research in higher education, and then with LinkedIn, who is able to look at a ton of really interesting data around employees and hiring. And so those were our 2 partners this time around.
Well, let's bring up the actual title, Improving Student Outcomes, quantifying the impact of creative skills on college and career. So obviously in America, college is university. Down here we call it university, but we understand the difference. So this is very much a higher research, isn't it?
Yes, though I think it has really important implications for the primary and secondary spaces as well, in terms of the outcomes that we've seen for students when they're learning creative skills as part of their general education courses. And certainly we as educators know that creativity matters, and we see that it matters in a variety of ways. We see that in terms of the way in which it motivates learning, how it develops higher level thinking skills, that it enables us to reach students that sometimes are quite challenging to reach in the classroom. And then finally, we know that these kinds of creative skills are essential in a world that's changing rapidly. What we chose to do with this study was answer the question, how much does it matter and in what ways? And so I'm really excited to share the results with you. We also know from industry that creative skills matter now, and they're predicted to continue to matter into the future. They've only been increasing in terms of their value for employees and for employers. And what we saw was that there was a significant benefit. We saw improvements in student grades. We saw improvements in student retention, their willingness to re-enroll for another term. We also saw, as they entered the job market, that it improved their prospects post-graduation, and then also had an impact on their long-term career trajectories. There's a lot of detail within this research. I know Tim is sharing the link so that you can explore this on your own. We invite you to dive in. Love to hear your questions. This kind of research only inspires more questions, which is great. We'd love to conduct research with more universities and more universities around the world. But then there are also some tremendous resources that you can use as an educator. If you want to dive deeper into the research, join us on the Creative Educator podcast. Explore lessons on the Adobe Education Exchange that will help you teach creativity across the curriculum.
So, Tacey, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much. Tim.
Hi folks, well it's now time to welcome our education thought leader for their 5-minute gem to inspire us and make us think more deeply about the importance of our role as educators.
Well, let's welcome Stephen. Now, Stephen, I've just muted you. Oh, you're unmuted now. That's good. We're just getting a little bit of interference back. So let's welcome our education thought leader for this episode, Adobe Education leader, Stephen Colbert. Welcome, Stephen. Over to you.
Thank you very much. So I guess basically I've got a couple of slides, and amusingly, this is something I'm putting together for a Teach Meet forthcoming. But I'm just interested in exploring the idea of competition and challenge networks for teachers. So I think quite often in teaching, we sort of assume that what we're doing is, never competitive, always collaborative, always something that, we must face ourselves before the complexity of our role. But to me, I'm just going to give you a reflection on reflection, in fact. And so the Edu Reading group that I run this month, we're currently reading this article that's all about how reflection itself isn't significantly changing teachers' practice enough, and that we need other input. And so I'm going to talk about where we can draw that other input from, perhaps a different framing than we normally hear in education. So this is from Dan Hasler's book, Habits. What's it called? Habits of Leadership, something like that. The practice of leadership, in fact. And so he talks about, where are you at and where do you need to get to, and how can you build a bridge of support to get there? So bridging the gap. And he references Simon Sinek's his book, The Infinite Game, where he talks about finding a worthy rival. And in this video, which I won't play for you, but it's available if you're interested, he talks about the idea of himself as a sort of guru and another guru that he's competing against that he hates, but he outlines the idea that he needs other competitors. And I think that can be true even in a caring, thoughtful profession like teaching. And so within the book, he talks about Anna Meares, who's a famous Australian cyclist on the velodrome. And I remember growing up my father's a big cyclist, and we'd often go to see cycling at the velodrome. And it's, quite a carefree place, not too much respect among competitors and those sort of things. But anytime Anna Meares walked through the crowd, everyone would hush and sort of say, "Oh, that's four-time Olympic gold medalist Anna Meares." And she, in her interview with Dan Hasler, talked about her competition with Victoria Pendleton, and she analysed her game, her technique, her style, all those things in great detail, so that she could improve herself. In the way that is featured in the Book of the Samurai, which is all about locating weaknesses. And obviously in teaching, you wouldn't necessarily be as competitive as that, and you wouldn't be looking for flaws in other people. But especially with the rise of social media and teachers having YouTube channels and all sorts of other medium, you can really analyze other people's work quite closely and use that to improve yourself. So rather than simply reflecting, you can find your own worthy rival. And so to me, Yelma Evers is another former Global Teacher Prize nominee, and he inspired me in a lot of the work that I do now. Deb Nedelicki, similarly in the academic realm, reading and writing research and publishing books and all those sort of things. And Yasadai was the person who nominated me for the award, and I sort of follow in her footsteps very well. And to me, this is something that's incredibly useful that can be done. And just as a strange example, I was talking to someone recently, and they were talking about aspirational application writing, which I'd never heard of, but I like the idea. So on the left-hand side is the thing that's standard in a Victorian teaching job. You have to basically talk about the curriculum and it. And to the right-hand side is something that I had to respond to as part of the kind of proving the nominations that people said. And as you can see, it's about improving the teaching profession. And so I think if you're aiming to be aspirational, the one on the right is a lot more of a possibility for growth than the one on the left, which merely asks you to be talking about teaching and that you can do it, basically. And the one on the right is much more, positive and potentially impactful. And so how do you do that? Obviously, you try and find a worthy rival, and that could be online, it could be in person, it could be a range of other things. And you set your goal. You aim to bridge the gap between where you're at and where you would like to be. And last of all, you need a challenge network. So for a lot of us, that's our online professional learning network, our AALs, all those sort of things. That kind of anytime you're in a network with a group of people with like-minded interests and skill sets, then that could very well be a place where you develop a challenge network from. So grab people that are similarly aligned to you, maybe better, maybe worse, maybe kind, maybe cruel, whatever you want it to be, and tell them the goal that you are setting out to achieve, and get them to be your challenge network to prompt you to say, how are you going towards that goal that you've set? And that is my five-minute little session. I just think challenge can be possible in teaching. It doesn't have to be, all happy, joy. We can, at points, find ways to challenge one another to aim for excellence.
Well, that reminds me of the work of Seymour Papert in the 60s and 70s, where he talked about hard fun and making sure that you're having fun, enjoying it, and when you're teaching and encouraging students to have hard fun. So it's fun, but it's challenging. And just reflecting on what you were talking about there, Stephen, the AEL community, the thing, and I've mentioned this a few times, I'm sure, is that it's so diverse, and you can pick a mentor or someone to work with. You could be a university professor, and your mentor could be a primary teacher. And that's how diverse our community is. And I just love the fact, being an ex-primary teacher myself and an ex-university lecturer, I just know how important it is to keep that diversity happening and to keep that community going. So thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate the effort you put into that presentation.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Rathke.
Now, Stephen, hopefully will be joining us a little bit later in our fireside chat, so you might want to throw in a few questions for him at that point. But we have a couple of special announcements for New South Wales and Victorian teachers about some opportunities for students in 2022.
Throughout 2022, Adobe is running a series of Adobe Creativity Challenges for New South Wales and Victorian students in years 5 to 9.
Adobe Creativity Challenges are all about students working with a team to design and share a digital solution based on a brief from an organisation or a global problem.
Find out more via adobe.ly/challenges year 5 to 9. That is YR5T09. The digital solutions are made with Adobe's amazing creativity tools and are usually a short video, a mobile app design, or a web page. This is a great way for students to learn Adobe tools and develop a range of important collaboration, digital literacy, communication, problem solving, and creativity skills.
Victorian and New South Wales students in years 9 to 12, as well as teachers from anywhere, not just New South Wales and Victoria, are invited to register for a special 2.5-day Adobe Premiere Pro workshop during the Easter holidays.
This is a great opportunity to spend quality time learning a great industry standard application.
This is a free and online intensive workshop that will also involve a showcase for the students and a chance for three lucky students to win one of 2 iPads and Apple Pencils, as well as a pocket gimbal camera.
Look up adobe.ly/video workshop 22 to find out more about the Adobe Holiday Video Challenge workshop, which is being run by Dr. Tim Kitchen from Adobe, and will be held from April 11 to 14 during the Easter holidays.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Rathke.
If you're on Facebook and you're not already a member of the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group, please join via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL.
This is a great way to keep regularly involved with Adobe and education and the wider community.
Our next Inject Creativity Live event will be on Wednesday, the 17th of November at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
Our AEL presenter will be Adobe Education Leader Ali Blackwell from Perth.
For those watching the recording of this episode, join us live if you're able to. It's always much more fun and interactive when you are live.
For those watching live, get ready to move to bluejeans.com/kitchen.adobe for our brief fireside chat, and we will see you all at the next episode.
Special thank you to Jerry and Erin for helping to put this show together.
And special thank you to Eden and Stephen for their contributions to this episode. See you next time.
And that's when I try and find the ending video, which always escapes me. And I don't know if I had the wrong one. Here we go. Thanks, folks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Well, folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of Inject Creativity Live. For those who are watching live, join us via bluejeans.com/kitchen.adobe for an informal, non-recorded fireside chat to meet and interact with our presenters, as well as complete the feedback form and apply for a professional development certificate. If you are not watching this live, join us live next time. Use this QR code or link to find out more about dates and topics. On behalf of Dr. Kitchen and Erin Raithke, don't forget to keep being creative.